This is Micornus, Phokane, the leader and the founder of Church Governance Solutions. Part 4. Today, we are dealing with this topic that speaks about the ingredients of a healthy church. What makes a healthy church and how to orchestrate or to build a healthy local church. And that is a help to pastors, is a help to leaders of churches, is a help also to the members of the church so that they can understand how to behave and how to participate, how to become part of a local church so that the local church becomes healthy. Remember that a local church is not only made by the pastor, a local church is not only made by the leadership, the local church is made by every single member in that local church. And that is why when we speak about the health of a local church, it can only be that everybody is involved equally in a way that is actually significant. They contribute to the function of the church healthily so that the church can actually be healthy at all times. And that is the reason why we embark on this topic, because it involves the pastors, it involves the leaders, it involves also the congregants as well. This topic is very important and we cannot actually ignore it. And I want to emphasize that sit back, fasten your seatbelt, and be with us as we deal with part 4 today. Now, the first ingredient that I want to speak about, or something that will make a local church healthy, is the church must do warfare, and they must do also what we call good works. They must do warfare, and they must do also what we call good works. Now, a local church must be aware that it is having an enemy who is raging. A local church must know that the devil is roaring like a lion, seeking for whom he can devour, as the scripture says. The local church must know that it is not going to be hunky-dory every day, because there are challenges that are facing the local church. So therefore, it must be that the local church knows then how to engage in what we call a warfare. Now, waging warfare against forces of darkness, it must be a daily thing by a local church members. It must be something that is usual within the program of the local church and amongst the members themselves. They must know how to wage warfare against the powers of darkness. Now, in the locality of the church, which will be the environment, the community area, the location where the church is, there will always be forces of darkness that are residing in the place. Strongholds that are holding the community in that place. Now, we always teach as church governance solutions that local churches must be able to map up places. You must be able to map up the community. You must be able to identify the strong men in the community. So this is very important. In some of the localities, you find that alcoholism is actually the strong man in that area. There are some of the localities where the local church is, whereby witchcraft maybe is the ruler there. And there are some of the places where just overall crime become actually the stronghold in the place. Now, it's very important for a local church then to become very aware of this. Because when you are able to map up the place and you know who is the strong man in the place, you are able to wage what we call a warfare direct head on with the strong man. Because it is not useful to start waging warfare willy-nilly and without any focus and direction, because you need to identify what we call a strong man in the area or in the locality. And when you have identified, then your warfare should be directed to those forces of darkness, to those strongholds that are actually in the community, so that you be able to direct your darts, you are able to direct your bullets to the right target, and you are shooting the right target as a local church. So this is very important, therefore, that you are aware of waging what we call a warfare. Now, as light, the church must dispel darkness in the area. As a light of God, you must dispel the darkness of the devil. So this is very important, because the church, where it is being placed, it is actually for the betterment of the community. It's for the improvement of the community. It's actually to help the community to become better. So this is very important then, that you become the light as a local church in the community, so that you are able to touch the lives of the people in the communities, and they are able to look up to the church, and then the church then would actually dispel the darkness in the communities. And this is very important that we emphasize that as well, because there are many times where the local church just gather every Sunday, meet, greet, hug each other, and go home. And they don't realize that the greater warfare is against the powers of darkness within that community. So therefore, they don't wage in warfare, and they are not actually aware that there is a great battle against the devil within that community. And sometimes then we see the local church then becomes weaker and weaker, purely is because it is not actually engaging in warfare. You are the salt, by the way. Remember that if the salt is losing its saltiness, the Bible says it is as good as being thrown in the byways for people to tremble upon it and walk upon it, because it's of no use. Now, a local church that is not engaged in what we call a warfare, that is not doing good works as well in the community, is actually a salt that has lost its taste. I must emphasize that we are, as local churches, mandated to do good works in the community. If the community is actually rattled by poverty, they are surrounded by poverty, or they are affected by poverty, the church or the local church must actually participate in empowering the local community and feeding the poor there, and making sure that you support them, because you are the only hope amongst the people that are there, that are staying there as a light of the church, as the light of God there. You are actually supporting the community because you're feeding the people. So good works are very important. So therefore, you must identify where you need to do good works. You must identify where you need to feed the people, or maybe where they need to be fed. You must identify those that need to be accommodated. You must identify those that have got different needs as well. Those that need to be taken away from drugs. Those that are needing to be taken away from alcohol and so on. So there are a lot. Those that need to be clothed with clothing because they've got no clothes, blankets and so on. Maybe feeding schemes that you may introduce there, or grocery support for families in the area. So those are type of initiatives that the local church could look at and start supporting the local community, that we call good works, which are very, very important for you to do. The church must oppose the gates of hell. The local church must fight against this. And all those arrays against the church must be targeted through prayer, through warfare, which is very, very important. Now, all that can be also softened through good works. So the church needs to embark on good works to soften all the attacks that the devil is doing towards the community. And warfare and intercession should be at the center of it. Now, secondly, I want to say that it's very important that the church gets multiplied through what we call cell groups. And as Church Governance Solutions, we are advocates for cell groups. We are advocates for cottage meetings. We are advocates for small localities, fellowships, because in this regard, we are going to be able to win souls around the place. We are going to be able to identify when our own members are having problems, so that we can be able to cover them and meet their needs. Very, very important, because remember that in the bigger sphere of the local church might be huge and big, whereby not everybody can be identified. Not everybody can be, not everybody's need can be identified either. So because of that, the home cells normally, what we call cottage meetings, they are helpful in that regard, because it's smaller groups whereby people's needs can be identified and they can be elevated quickly to the leadership of the church if it's something that needs the leadership of the church. If it's a prayer that needs the pastor to pray for the people, it will be elevated to the pastor, pastoral desk rather, based on them being identified from what we call a cell groups. So the cell groups then becomes very, very important in the sense that they are able to identify the needs of the members. But also, as I've mentioned, that winning souls and preaching to the localities or the people in the locality or the next door neighbors of the people where there's a home cell, getting invited in there, it becomes very pertinent and important. And we have seen many people getting born again through this. These are small units. We call them cell groups. They always help the health and the growth of a local church generally. And I must emphasize that the temple ministry must not hinder the house to house ministry as well. Because as much as we gather every Sunday, it is very important that we consider house to house visits. We also could move cell meetings from one house to another. And that's the way to reach out to the communities, to reach out to the people in the localities, and make sure that we with them for the kingdom and also counsel them to accept the Lord as a personal Savior. Very important that we disciple them as well so that they can grow in their spiritual life as well. The small units must be allowed to thrive weekly, and it must be that they choose a day that is convenient for them within a home cell. They cannot be actually driven to become in one specific day. It could be based on the convenience of the days and times of the people that fellowship in that local cell group. They can actually decide on a day in the week when they meet. And that becomes very important, and make sure that you support them as leaders, you support them as a pastor, so that those people can thrive and continue doing well, because they are the lifeblood of the whole body, which is the local church. I want to end up here today, your host, Micornus, the leader, the founder of Church Governance Solutions. I want to check out, but before I check out, I want to remind you of our Facebook page, Church Governance Solutions. So please remember our Facebook page, Micornus as well. Like, follow those pages. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well under Young Men Empowerment Forum, and another YouTube channel under Micornus. So make sure that you do actually follow us in those pages, and make sure that you also subscribe, click notification button so that you may be notified when there are some videos that have been posted. We have recently started on TikTok, which we have had a lot of feedback from many people that are following us on TikTok account, Micornus. So please follow us there. Your life shall never be the same. And I believe you and your local church as a pastor, you and your local church as leadership of a church, you will start seeing changes when you embark on this, and your church shall be healthy at all times. Allow me to check out right here till we meet tomorrow, dealing with part 5. May the good Lord bless you, and allow me to check out right now and say cheers for now.